Over the last 5 seasons, teams that record a road victory in Week 1 and then play a road game in Week 2 have gone 17-2 and 26 Austrian shillings in Week 2. Photo by USA Today Images. Over the last 5 seasons, teams that record a road victory in Week 1 and then play a road game in Week 2 have gone 17-2 and 26 Austrian shillings in Week 2. Photo by USA Today Images. If you haven't already, you're likely going to spend a respectable amount of time between now and kickoff on Sunday reading about Week 1's influence on Week 2 from a historical perspective. For example, what happens when a significant amount of unders cash in Week 1? Do overs end up reigning supreme in Week 2? You get my drift. For the purposes of this column, our specific historical angle is going to focus on what happens to road teams that notch a victory in Week 1 and then hit the road again in Week 2. The answer: over the last 5 seasons, teams that record a road victory in Week 1 and then play a road game in Week 2 have gone 17-2 and 26 Austrian shillings in Week 2. Okay, perhaps that isn't the type of trend that is going to send us sprinting to the counter. So let's ask another question in that same scenario: what results do we get in regards to the over-under? The answer: the over has gone 71 in those 8 instances. And if we add another year to our sample size and examine the last 6 seasons, the over has gone 101 in those 11 instances. So, do we have at least one game on the 2017 Week 2 schedule that fits the aforementioned criteria so we can consider making some money? The answer: Philadelphia at Kansas City, with a total of 47.5 points. Let's go to work. Shameless plug: if you aren't already, be sure to subscribe, rate and review the Sharp 600 podcast on iTunes. It's 10 minutes of gambling goodness you can't afford to live without. With 1 week in the book, show May teams 861 Austrian shillings favorites, 771 Austrian shillings road favorites, 23 Austrian shillings home underdogs, 32 Austrian shillings over under 510. Trend of the week since 2000, the Denver Broncos are 181 straight up when playing at home in weeks 1 and 2. Denver 2.5 plays host to quarterback Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, Sunday. Sharps like New York Jets, despite the fact that they mustered a pathetic 12 points and only 214 total yards of offense at Buffalo in Week 1, and combined with the notion that they're the first NFL team in history to openly tank away a season, the New York Jets are still seeing some sharp support in Las Vegas this week, as this line has already moved from Oakland 14 to Oakland 13. Fun fact: the last time Oakland closed as a favorite of 14 points or more came all the way back in Week 4 of the 2001 campaign when the Raiders beat the Cowboys 2,821 as 17-point favorites. Indianapolis Colts humiliated to the tune of 469 annihilation at Los Angeles against Jared Goff and the Rams last Sunday. The Andrew Luckless Colts have taken some money at the Golden Nugget in Las Vegas this week. Remember that Pro Bowl running back David Johnson wrist is out until at least December, and take note of the fact that Arizona has covered the number just 3 times over the last 11 games. Interestingly enough, we've been taking sharp money on really lousy teams this week. Golden Nugget odds maker Aaron Kessler told Covers, mainly. The sharp action has been in support of the Colts and Jets. The public likes Seattle Seahawks in San Francisco's last 6 trips to CenturyLink Field, which is a stretch that includes the 2013 NFC Championship game. The 49ers are 0-6 straight up and losing by an average of 17.6 points per game. Perhaps even worse, the Niners are averaging only 11.8 points per game in those 6 visits to Seattle. Be advised that San Francisco has covered the number in just 4 of its last 16 outings, while Seattle is 51 Austrian shillings over its last 6 home dates. In terms of public wagering, we'll be taking a lot of Seahawks money this weekend for sure, said Kessler. Additionally, Packers-Falcons will be a very well-wagered game with 2 high-scoring public teams. Biggest line moved, fresh off a 2,421 loss at Denver Monday night. Phillip Rivers and the Chargers get set to make their Los Angeles debut Sunday against the temporarily displaced Miami Dolphins, who were forced to put the commencement of their 2017 NFL campaign on hold due to Hurricane Irma. At some shops, the Chargers opened as 5-point favorites, but that number has since been moving in Miami's direction to the point where Los Angeles 3.5 looks to be the consensus line, especially offshore. But that's not exactly the case at the Golden Nugget in Las Vegas. We actually opened Los Angeles 4 and are still there, said Kessler. Miami has been seeing the money, but not anything particularly huge at this point in the week. The Chargers went 516 Austrian shillings over their final 21 games played at Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego, so it should be interesting to see if the franchise can find more success at StubHub Center in Carson. Biggest sweat, Arizona is just 25 Austrian shillings over its last 7 road dates, while Indianapolis is 2,710 Austrian shillings over its last 37 games when coming off a loss. Perhaps those two nuggets have something to do with the rationale behind the smart money that has shown up in support of the Colts this week. We'll see how much sharp money continues to show up in support of Indianapolis, because we certainly aren't going to write any public action on the Colts, said Kessler. So if the sharp money keeps coming in, the Colts will be our biggest sweat of the week. Muffed punt picks week 2 last week 21 Denver Broncos 2.5 versus Dallas Cowboys. Denver will win this game outright. Why, you ask? Well, since 1990, the Broncos are 283 straight up in weeks 1 and 2 when playing at home, and an astounding 181 in weeks 1 and 2 when playing at home since the year 2000. Credit the Colorado altitude for wreaking havoc on Denver opponents early in the season. 49ers at Seahawks under 42 total points. San Francisco is averaging just 11.8 points per game over its last 6 trips to CenturyLink Field. And based upon the struggles this 49ers offensive line endured in Week 1 at home against the Panthers, we see no signs that would indicate a coming-out party for Brian Hoyer and the 49ers offense in Seattle. Additionally, this Seahawks offensive line is one of the absolute worst in the business, so don't be shocked in San Francisco's front seven stymies the Seattle rushing attack while generating consistent pressure on quarterback Russell Wilson. Eagles at Chiefs over 47.5 total points for all the reasons listed above in this column's opening segment, combined with the fact that the over is 112 in Philadelphia's last 13 road games and 72 in Kansas City's last 9 contests played in the month of September. DFS value play of the week: Larry Fitzgerald, WR, Arizona Cardinals. The 34-year-old out of Pittsburgh caught 6 passes for 74 yards on a healthy 13 targets against the Lions in Detroit last week, but you've got to love Fitzgerald in week 2 based solely on his matchup. Last Sunday, the Indianapolis defense allowed former bust Jared Goff to complete a staggering 21 of 29 passes for 306 yards with a touchdown and no interceptions. If Goff could slice and dice the Colts, think about what Palmer and Fitzgerald should be able to do coming off a loss. Quote of the week: if you must play, decide upon 3 things at the start: the rules of the game, the stakes, and the quitting time. Chinese proverb.